Football fans around the world are still talking about it days later. A World Cup knockout match, a 2-goal lead thrown away, and a video review system now facing one of its biggest credibility tests in tournament history. Was it just a wild night of football, or something fans have every right to question? Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what happened, why it matters, and what it could mean for the rest of the 2026 World Cup. Welcome back to Football Daily Dispatch. Today we're breaking down the fallout from Argentina's dramatic 3-2 comeback win over Egypt in the round of 16, a match that has sparked an official complaint, fierce pundit criticism, and a debate that could follow Lionel Messi's side all the way to the final. This is the story of a match Egypt should have won, a VAR decision that changed everything, and a controversy that isn't going away anytime soon. Setting the scene. To understand why this match matters so much, you need to understand what was at stake. Argentina arrived at the 2026 World Cup as defending champions, chasing back-to-back titles behind the ongoing brilliance of Lionel Messi, now playing in what many believe is his final World Cup. La Albiceleste cruised through the group stage, topping Group J, before easing past Cabo Verde in the round of 32. Egypt, meanwhile, with a feel-good underdog story of the tournament, managed by club legend Hossam Hassan and led by Mohamed Salah. The Pharaohs had already knocked out Australia on penalties to reach the knockout rounds, and they arrived in Atlanta with genuine belief that they could pull off one of the biggest upsets of the entire competition. Nobody, not even the most optimistic Egyptian fan, could have predicted just how close they'd come, or how the match would end up dominating headlines for reasons that had nothing to do with the final scoreline. What happened on the pitch? The round of 16 clash kicked off in Atlanta, and Egypt came out firing. In just the 15th minute, center-back Yasser Ibrahim rose highest to head Egypt into the lead. The Pharaohs controlled the tempo, frustrating an Argentina side that looked uncharacteristically off the pace. Then came the moment that would define the entire match. In the 62nd minute, Egyptian forward Mostafa Zico finished off a slick move set up by Salah, wheeling away in celebration, tearing off his shirt, thinking he'd just doubled Egypt's lead. But after a lengthy VAR review, French referee François Letexier disallowed the goal, ruling that Egypt defender Marwan Attia had committed a foul on Argentina's Lisandro Martinez earlier in the build-up. It was a decision that stunned the stadium, and it's the one that's still being debated today. Commentators questioned in real time whether the incident even fell within VAR's remit to review. Remarkably, Zico wasn't finished. Just minutes later, in the 67th minute, he struck again, this time with the goal standing, putting Egypt up 2-0 and seemingly in control of the match. With just over 10 minutes remaining, Egypt were on the brink of one of the great World Cup shocks. And then, in the words of pundits, everything changed. Christian Romero headed Argentina back into the game in the 79th minute. 4 minutes later, Messi produced yet another piece of World Cup magic, scoring his 8th goal of the tournament to level things at 2-2 and send the Argentine bench into delirium. Amid the late drama, Egypt also had a penalty appeal turned down after Hamdi Fathi went aground in the box, a decision that added fuel to the fire that was already building. Then, deep into stoppage time, in the 92nd minute, substitute Enzo Fernandez completed the comeback, slotting home the winner to send Argentina through 3-2 and eliminate Egypt from the tournament. Messi was in tears, Salah was in tears, and within hours, the football world was arguing not about the result, but about how it was reached. The controversy explodes. By the next morning, the story had shifted from a thrilling comeback to a full-blown officiating scandal. The Egyptian Football Association released a statement, saying it would not stay silent over what it called improper use of the VAR system, and according to media reports, UEFA President Hani Abio Rida formally lodged a complaint against referee François Letexier and his assistants. Egypt's coach Hossam Hassan didn't hide his frustration after the match, and Salah echoed that disappointment in his own comments. But it was the reaction from respected voices in the game that really turned this into a global story. Former England striker Ian Wright, speaking on ITV, pointed to the inconsistency of the decision-making, arguing that if the Zico goal was disallowed for a foul in the build-up, then Egypt's late penalty shout, involving Salah, deserved the same level of scrutiny. Former Liverpool defender Jamie Carragher went further, suggesting that in other top European leagues, the original Zico goal likely would have stood even after a VAR check. And former England goalkeeper Rob Green questioned publicly whether the incident should have been within VAR's scope to review at all. To be clear, and this matters, there is no evidence that FIFA or match officials deliberately manipulated the result in Argentina's favor. What's fueling the controversy isn't proof of wrongdoing. It's the perception of inconsistency. And in football, perception can be just as damaging as fact. Why this story matters. Here's the bigger picture. VAR was introduced to eliminate exactly this kind of controversy, not create it. Every major refereeing body defends the technology as a tool for accuracy. But incidents like this one reignite a debate that has followed VAR since its World Cup debut back in 2018 in Russia. Is it actually making the game fairer? Or is it just replacing old-fashioned human error with a new, more complicated kind of confusion? For Argentina, the on-field consequences are straightforward. Despite the storm around the officiating, the result stands. Messi and his teammates are through to the quarterfinals, and nothing about this. Controversy changes that, but the football world will now be watching every decision involving Argentina for the rest of the tournament through a very different lens. Any close call in the quarterfinals, semifinals, or even the final is going to be measured against what happened in Atlanta. For Egypt, it's a heartbreaking way to exit a tournament where they genuinely believed they could make history. And for FIFA, it's a reputational headache landing at the worst possible time, in the knockout stages of the biggest World Cup ever staged, with 48 teams and a global audience watching every whistle. Fan and media reaction. Social media exploded within minutes of the final whistle, and the debate has only intensified since. Egyptian fans and media have been vocal in accusing officials of inconsistency, pointing to the disallowed goal as the turning point that changed the entire complexion of the match. Neutral fans and pundits have largely landed somewhere in the middle, acknowledging that the Zico goal review was technically defensible under VAR protocol, while also agreeing that the optics were poor given what followed. It's worth noting that this wasn't the tournament's first VAR flashpoint. Just days earlier, a controversy involving a suspension for USMNT striker Folarin Balogun had already put FIFA's handling of disciplinary decisions under the microscope. Combine that with the Argentina-Egypt fallout, and you've got a tournament where officiating, not just the football, has become one of the biggest storylines of the summer. What's next? So where does this go from here? On the pitch, Argentina's reward for surviving that Egypt scare is a quarterfinal date with Switzerland, who battled past Colombia to reach the last 8. That match kicks off tonight in Kansas City, and it's the next real test of whether Argentina can silence the noise with performances rather than headlines. Off the pitch, expect the EFA's complaint to keep this story alive for at least the next several days, even though a reversal of the result is not something we've seen happen in World Cup history and shouldn't be expected here. The bigger question is whether FIFA or IFAB issue any kind of public clarification on how the Zico decision was reached, something that could either calm the controversy or, if fans feel it's dismissive, pour more fuel on the fire. And realistically, this isn't just an Egypt problem anymore. Every Argentina match from here on out is going to carry extra scrutiny. If a similarly tight call goes Argentina's way in the quarterfinals or beyond, this story comes roaring right back, bigger than before. Closing summary. Let's recap what we covered today. Argentina survived a stunning Egypt comeback bid, storming back from 2-0 down to win 3-2 in the round of 16. But the story of the match quickly became a disallowed Mostafa Zico goal and the chain of VAR decisions that followed. The Egyptian Football Association has filed an official complaint. Top pundits have publicly questioned the consistency of the officiating, and the debate over VAR's role at this World Cup shows no sign of slowing down. Argentina march on to face Switzerland in the quarterfinals, but they do so under a spotlight that's brighter and more skeptical than ever. If you enjoyed today's football update, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest football news from around the world. Thanks for watching Football Daily Dispatch, and we'll see you in the next update.